Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to everyone. So let me know in the chat. All right. So let's get started with today's session. Okay. So before we get started, we need to keep two, three things in mind. First, we are talking about. So first, we are talking about the pose and action in your POV. So we need to understand what do we exactly mean by POV. By POV, I exactly want to communicate about the point of view from which you will be witnessing the composition. So either the point of view can be yours, or either the point of view can be referred to any other uh, camera or maybe any other observer based on the question. So today, in order to complete this question and address this topic and understand this better, we are dealing with this particular question. So let's have a quick reading of this one. Imagine you are a spectator watching an Olympic event archery where two archers are competing with each other. You're seated right behind the archers on an elevated platform. One of the archers is taking his position, about to shoot an arrow towards the target. Draw the view from your point of view. Now, there are two, three things which we need to understand in this question. So, the very first thing which you need to keep in mind is that we need to dissect the question properly. Okay. So let's first take care of these things. For example, there are two archers. So that means we will be more or less going to focus on these two archers that are going to be the central subject. Other than that, since they are competing with each other, so the facial expressions and the overall body language should also communicate that, because the whole body actually participates when a certain kind of actions or a scenario takes place. Now it says that they are seated behind. So that means seated right behind. That means probably the observer is very close to the archers. That means if archers are situated, let's say, over point X, so that means probably by keeping a safe distance, we are present in the audience area. And that audience area, probably we are in the frontmost seat. Now it says that uh, on an elevated platform. Now, this is something that we need to keep in mind, that what exactly do they mean by that, and what can be the best possible view in order to understand the scenario. One of the archers is taking his position. Now, his is the word. That means we are not going to make any female character over here. Okay. About to shoot an arrow towards the target. Draw the view from your point of view. Now, let's first understand what is going to be our point of view. It is going to be on an elevated platform. It is going to be right behind. So let's imagine that what can be the case. And at the same time, let's also understand that what can be the possible tips in order to understand this question better. So, the very first step which we have just followed over here is dissecting the question to understand the angle. And that's exactly which we have done so far. Okay. Now it says define the horizon line, eye level, and vanishing point. These things we are going to do when we will be shifting to my drawing board, and we are going to then execute the question. Then third, as always, reduce everything into basic geometrical shapes. And finally, last but not the least, just finalizing the details. If you have been attending all my previous sessions, you must have noticed that I am continuously keeping the stress on this point of reducing everything into basic geometrical shapes and then finalizing the details. It's because it simplifies the whole approach of execution. And that's what exactly we have to do, because this exam is a race against time. So let's understand the view. Okay. Being right behind, and after that, being on an elevated view. So now, in my opinion, if anyone of you may have noticed these type of details in a stadium, Okay, these detail I'm talking about. So you must have seen that some seats are situated right above the entry gate. I suppose if they're talking about an elevated platform, see clearly the seat is not going to be here because it is not that elevated. But I suppose that when they are deliberately talking about an elevated platform, it can possibly be a seat that can be over here. So it becomes very important that the angle selection should be the most relevant and at the same time the most effective one that can be vividly recognized when you're going to draw. Okay. So now I hope that you understood that we are going to make the POV from here, from the point X, that is these seats which are going to be there. Now, for my own convenience, because I want to make my job easier. Okay, instead of taking the most extreme side of seeds, because that can then give me a very complex view to draw, it's better that in order to get a 1 point perspective projection, I should aim for the centermost seed. So, on that note, I will be aiming my position somewhere over here, because in my opinion, this looks somewhere in the center. Okay, and if I'm looking there from the center, possibly I can get a 1 point perspective. And that's how I'm going to simplify my job. All right. So let's quickly move to my drawing board and let's start execution. Now allow me a moment so that I can switch. All right. So I hope my drawing board is visible to everyone and so does my hand. Okay. So let's brainstorm a little and then let's think that how exactly and where exactly we should put up all these things and then we can execute it better. So let's plan some sketches. As you know that we always choose to brainstorm first before uh, going over there. So let's go for a thumbnail sketch. Okay. So for a thumbnail sketch, what I always do is that I first create a normal bounding box. Now this is a rough page. Do not become too pro in order to execute your skills over there because we are just planning this step. We have to execute this thumbnail sketch over your rough sheet that is provided to you in the exam. Okay. So let's think that what can be the possible view over here. So I suppose that if I'm on an elevated platform, then clearly uh, what I'm going to look at is going to be on an lower level. I won't deliberately look in the center because my center of attention is going to be somewhere below. So in that opinion, what I think is that it's better that I take the horizon line and my eye level a little bit above from the center of. So basically, I will be taking my horizon line a little above uh, the center part. Okay, somewhere over here. So that is going to be, let's say, my horizon line. Then we will be needing a vanishing point. Now, clearly, this vanishing point can be very far. Okay, so let's take the vanishing point in the center so that we can make our job much more easy. Okay. And since I am on an uh, elevated platform, okay, so I will more or less be getting some macro vision. So probably in order to consume some more space and making my job even more easier, it's better that I basically accommodate some more elements that can take up my attention. Okay. For example, the one who is evaluating you, their attention. Okay. So let's assume that there can be my two hats. And after that, I'm looking at the archers. And after that, let's speculate, because in this exam, maybe you won't be in a position in order to visualize everything. Okay. So let's just connect the dots. Okay. Here, the only detail we have is that probably the only detail which we have is that it's an Olympic game event. So we can easily recall an Olympic game logo. Okay. So we can maybe choose to keep it in the center. After that, there are two archers competing. So that means these two archers will be having a far-fetched targets. Okay. So let's assume that these can be just my thumbnail sketches of these far-fetched targets. After that, there can be maybe a defined boundary. Now what so basically I have been watching some games. So what I have observed is that there is also some more area, okay, which is given to archers, okay, which is there on a safer distance. Then after that there is basically a border, okay, and after that then the archer is going to probably take their positions. So archer POV in action will most likely come something like this by aiming. Okay. All right. So both of them are, let's say, even if they are aiming, so their view will something be like this. Now I have to cover these two white spaces. So in these two white spaces, I just have to balance some components. Okay. So first, in order to get the better and best footage from different angles, what happens is that there are certain places where there are only just cameraman people who are present on a certain distance. Okay, these things are there in especially in these type of games. So let's assume that there are these camera taking places. I mean these camera angle uh, things that are present, and after that, I believe that what we can put over here is maybe a display banner. Okay, which can be displaying something. Okay, we will ideate it later. Okay, some more stage details, and what else we can put in? Let's say that we have that given very little glimpse of some more stadium details, so that we can just give a glimpse of the overall background. Okay, now allow me a moment, and after that we will get started. In this moment, I will be going to prepare my pencils.